Hey guys, Fizz Knight here. I'm here to answer a question a lot of you Final Fantasy fans might be asking yourself. Is Final Fantasy XI still worth playing in 2019? Let me tell you, 100% definitely yes. Now, this video is more for people who haven't played Final Fantasy XI before or haven't played since the early 2000s. If you're a Final Fantasy veteran, you probably know everything I'm going to explain here, but hey, by all means, stick around if you want. I've been playing Final Fantasy XI pretty heavily for about the past month and a half, and I am having a blast with it. I'm currently a level 67 Dark Knight Samurai. Now obviously I haven't experienced the endgame yet, but I assure you there is plenty to do endgame. Now there is a mobile version supposedly in the works by a company named Nexon, who just recently got bought out I hear, but rumor has it they are still working on the game under the direction of Square Enix. I don't think this is going to hurt the PC version in any way. People are still going to want to play the game on the PC on a bigger screen, and let me tell you, for a game that is 16 years old, its graphics are really not that bad. Are the graphics as good as current gen games? Well, obviously not, but the enemy and player avatars are still very well made in my opinion. Now let's get into it. Why is FF11 still worth playing in 2019? Well, for one, it's an MMORPG based on your favorite childhood RPGs of the past. I'm referring to games like Final Fantasy 2 and 3 for SNES and Final Fantasy 7 for the PlayStation. It takes classes from these games like the Dark Knight, the Paladin, the Dragoon, the Ninja, the Mage, the White Mage, the Red Mage. The world of Final Fantasy is set in a world called Vana'diel, and it's a beautiful, huge world with countless hours there for you to explore. With being able to choose from 20 classes and 5 races, there is no shortage of replayability. One of the awesome things about Final Fantasy XI is that you can play all 20 classes on one character just by going to your Mog house and switching your class over. Now you will have to unlock the other 14 job classes, but the quests are extremely fun to play through, and trust me, you won't be bored unlocking them. Now one of the main points I need to make, if you get anything out of this video as someone just starting to play, use a controller. Let me say that one more time. Use a controller. You can also just use the keyboard I hear, but don't try playing this game with a mouse. It's much easier with just a controller or the keyboard. When I first fired this game up about 5 to 6 weeks ago, I was using the keyboard and mouse to play, and I thought I was playing okay and doing well as I have a multi-button mouse that I would macro some of my skills to. Well, I had a lot of people in my stream come in and say, why in the world are you using a mouse and keyboard? The game is much faster with a controller or just a keyboard to control the camera, movement, and skills. I had already gotten to about level 60-ish or so by playing with the mouse, and I was kind of hesitant to switch over. But I figured why not give it a try, so I enabled my Xbox One wireless controller on my PC and enabled controller support in the Final Fantasy XI config and fired up the game. Not only did I notice right away how much faster I could fire off my skills and use my menus, but I had almost no trouble at all switching over from the keyboard and mouse to the controller. Playing with the controller felt like I was doing it from the beginning within the first 2 minutes. Now I will explain in another video I plan on doing, basically a new player guide that will go over some of the controller config options you will need to choose if say using an Xbox controller or the like, because there are a few of the options that don't work on default in the FF11 config, but as I said, I will go over that in my new player guide. Also, playing with a controller, it just felt like I was playing one of the old school Final Fantasies of the past, and it just made it more nostalgic for me. Square Enix has made a lot of quality of life changes over the past 15-16 years with this game. There is now a trust system that basically lets you summon up to 5 other characters to add to your party as you're leveling up. You can unlock this feature early in the game, starting with 3 trusts and unlocking more slots as you play through the Rhapsodies of Vana'diel expansion. Many of the trusts that you summon are important storyline characters that you meet as you are playing through the main storyline. It's pretty cool that you can actually summon the guys next to you that are in the main storyline cutscenes. I believe there are over 100 trusts that you can unlock, so there are plenty of variety in who you can pick for your trust party. The trusts are made up of all classes in the game, and you can easily set a macro to summon and dismiss them all at once. Another fantastic addition added to the game was the placement of teleport books and hunt books that basically let you transport to each region once you are able to find that said book in that said region. This makes it much less frustrating as a new player because you won't have to waste hours running back and forth from region to region. The hunt books give you a quest that basically tells you to kill an X amount of enemies and you will be rewarded with extra XP based on the enemy level for each region. Around level 40 or so, you start on your first artifact armor and weapon quests. The quests are fairly easy to complete now with the trust system being added, but I still had a lot of fun getting my full set at level 60. This brings me to another important part of why I think FF11 actually has a lot better gear system than a lot of the other MMORPGs out there. The reason is the gear system isn't one-dimensional, and what I mean by that is when you get a piece of gear in FF11, it will always have value. You can actually keep your artifact gear for quite a while, upgrading it as you go through the game with various new events that have been added in Final Fantasy XI. If you end up replacing the gear, you can always sell it on the auction house for a hefty price, or use it for an alt class. In games like WoW, where you spend countless hours getting a piece of gear in a raid, then once the next patch hits, it becomes useless, and makes the time you spent feel pretty awful in my opinion. This is one of the things that a lot of people on my stream comment about they like about Final Fantasy XI. You won't have to worry about your gear becoming useless vendor trash after the patch hits. And oh, by the way, Square Enix does still update and add new content to Final Fantasy XI, which I find pretty amazing, being that they could have sent this game to the wayside, being that their main MMO now is Final Fantasy XIV. Another huge addition that Square Enix added was the Records of Eminence. These are a series of quests you can activate in your menu that basically give you extra XP and currency called sparks that you can trade in for armor and weapons as you level up. There are all kinds of quests that you can undertake, including tutorial, area, and combat quests. I used this system to its fullest, and it really made the game more satisfying, being I had virtually no gil when I started playing Final Fantasy XI. And I was able to keep up with gear at my level by trading in the sparks I received. Square Enix basically eliminated players having to camp for 24 hours straight on HNMs or high-level notorious monsters. There are still named monsters that you can kill and get loot, but the respawn times are a lot less insane than what they used to be. You can now get each class to a max level 99 and gear up to eye level 119. Storage is now a lot more manageable, being you can have up to 8 80-slot storage options, upgradable through quests and other means. As far as pricing for this game is concerned, I believe I bought the base game and all the expansions for $40 USD, and that came with a free month of play. I was able to get about level 65-ish in my first month, which I think is pretty good. Now, Final Fantasy XI is still one of the only sub MMOs left out there, and the sub fee is $13 USD a month. You can also pay an extra $4 for 2 more 80-slot equipment MOG wardrobes that basically let you house your gear that you can swap anywhere on the fly. Lastly, I should mention about server population. I decided to roll on one of the more populated servers, which is Ashura, with a player base of about 2,000 plus players online at a given time. Some of the other servers only have a few hundred, I'm told, from players I talked to in my stream, but they have no problem playing from what they said with the new content on their servers. Now, this isn't a complete video about all the stuff Square Enix added over the last 16 years, and trust me, there's a lot more I didn't explain in this video. That was added into the game. I basically just tried to go over the biggest changes that will make an impact on you if you decide to give Final Fantasy XI a try. I hope you guys like this video. I do plan on doing a more in-depth Final Fantasy XI newbie guide for players about when to start the trust systems, how to set some macros, gearing, and making your UI a bit better, as I was kind of lost on these things when I started, and a lot of people on my stream helped me out. Guys, please hit me up with a like and subscribe, and check me out on twitch.tv/FizNight, where I live stream a lot of the games I talk about in my videos. See you guys later. Peace.